So the last time you were factoring, you were trying to find the greatest common factor. Now we're going to just try to factor trinomials, which is basically like unfoiling. So visualize when you have two parentheses and you would do front, outside, inside, last, foiling, or double distributive, or the box method, and you would end up with 4 different terms. In the middle, 2 would combine. Basically, for example, for number 1, you're going to try to put it back into the 2 parentheses. So how do you make an x squared? Because that's where you multiply these 2 front terms. And in order to make an x squared, it's got to be x times x. Next question is, how do you make an 8? That's where you multiply these last 2 terms. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to make an 8. So that's why I have a little space for factors of 8. 1 times 8, 2 times 4. Now you got to decide which group is applicable. Because you have a negative 8, you need these 2 numbers to multiply and get negative 8. So one of them has to be positive and one of them has to be negative, or the other way around, negative and positive. What we do know is that these signs are different. And the middle sign tells you that the greater one has to be negative. So I'm going to put a plus and a minus. And the middle one tells me which sign, the sign of the greater number. Now, which one of these sets do I choose? I need to add or subtract to make this 7 in the middle. 1 and 8 subtracts to get 7. 2 and 4 does not add, nor does it subtract to get 7. So 1 and 8 need to be the numbers that I use inside my parentheses. 8 being the greater the number, so that goes with the negative, and 1 being the smaller number. Negative 8 plus 1 is negative 7. That's where that negative 7 is coming from. And positive 1 times negative 8 gives you negative 8. I want you to always bring it over and check it. You can use the box method. You can FOIL. It's up to you. And it matches the original equation. So this is it in fully factored form. Let's take a look at the second one. We'll go through it step by step again. Remember, the goal is to get it to 2 parentheses. So to make an x squared, it's these front 2 terms, x and x. To make a 12, there's a lot of different options. That's why I have a spot to put all the factors of 12. And I put them in a group. 1 times 12 is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 3 times 4 is 12. Now remember, to pick the group of numbers, you need to add or subtract to get this middle number. So when you add 1 and 12, you get 13. When you subtract them, you get 11. That's not going to work. We need 7. Add 2 and 6, you get 8. Subtract them, you get 4. Not getting 7. 3 and 4, you add them, and you get 7. So we're going to use 3 and 4. Positive 12 is what we need to multiply to get. So that means the signs have to be the same. They're either plus, plus, or minus, minus. Because if you multiply 2 negatives, it becomes a positive, as well as if you multiply 2 positives, it stays a positive. This sign here tells you what the signs should be. They should both be negative. Now double check it. And it matches with the original. So this is my fully factored form. Let's try it again. 2 parentheses to get x squared. It's x and x to get 50. got a couple choices, 5 and 10. I think that's it. Now I'm trying to make a 49, add or subtract. So definitely 1 in 50. This does not make a 49 by adding and subtracting, neither does that. 1 in 50, I need to get a negative 50. That means the signs have to be different. The bigger is positive. And then I go over here and check. Oops, yeah, that's right. Now notice I'm doing all my work. I'm not just trying to cheat and say, okay, it all works, because it's possible to make a mistake. So I do all my work for my check. All right, let's try the last one. To make x squared, x and x. To make 100, got a lot of different choices. I need numbers that add or subtract to get 15. 1 and 100 do not. 2 and 50 do not. They subtract to get 15. So it's going to be 5 and 20. Signs are different. And the bigger one is negative. So that means that's a positive. So do FOIL to double check. Minus 15x. Does it check? Yes. So that's what factored form would look like.